The North Korean constitution guarantees freedom of religious belief. But, of course, trusting North Korea to be reliable here is about as reliable as trusting an airplane seatbelt to save you in a crash. In reality, as everyone knows, North Korea remains as one of, if not the #1 place for Christian persecution in the entire world. So, obviously, there is no religious freedom in North Korea. The DPR of North Korea is also an atheist state, and the government doesn't allow for many religious views, besides their own, of course. According to one report, at least 200,000 Christians have gone missing since 1953. And according to a new report that came out last month, more Christians have been reported being executed and have also been forced to have abortions due to their religious beliefs. According to an article that was recently published by the Christian Post, a new report has exposed the atrocities done to North Korean Christians arrested for their faith, including forced abortions, the murder of newborn babies, and death by execution for possessing a Bible. The London-based Korea Future Initiative published its last report, Persecuting Faith, documenting religious freedom violations in North Korea, which includes information from 117 interviews with those exiled from the isolated country. The investigation documents 273 victims of religious freedom violations, ranging in age from just 3 years old to over 80 years old. Though adherents of various religions are held in North Koreans' re-education camps, the highest punishments are reserved for Christians, the report found. More than 200 Christians were identified as victims punished for crimes including religious practice, religious activities in China, possessing religious items, contact with religious persons, attending a place of worship, and sharing religious beliefs. The report documented the various methods of torture victims endured in North Korea's prison camps, including strangulation, starvation, being forced to ingest polluted food, sleep deprivation, and excessive beating. In several cases, prisoners found with the Bible or religious pamphlets were executed by a firing squad, while others were locked in electrified cages and fed watery soup. Others were executed for smuggling Bible pages into the country from China for North Koreans to make prayer books. Now, there were several other details about forced abortions and other horrendous crimes that I simply can't detail on this channel. But never mind, something we can learn from this is that it's easier for us to get into a bubble and not realize the persecution in places like North Korea and China and India, the Middle East, and so on. And it really puts into perspective the things that we complain about and how significant they are to us while not being all that significant to people around the world in several other places. Now, only God knows what our future holds, and there will undoubtedly be extremely tough situations awaiting many of us in the future. But no matter where we are in the world right now, whether we're facing tough times right now and going through persecution right now or later, I pray that all of us will be able to echo the sentiment that Paul made in Philippians 4. Now, a lot of people know what Paul said in verse 13 when he said, "I can do all things through him who gives me strength." But what most people don't know is the context that came right before that verse. Starting at verse 11, Paul says, "I'm not saying this because I'm in need, for I've learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength." So my prayer is that we all endure hard times with the strength of Christ, and that we all learn to suffer well, knowing that our ultimate hope is far greater than anything that this world has to offer, and all suffering is only temporary. But please be aware that this doesn't mean that we shouldn't be on guard for what's coming to America. Click on this video to see what I mean. So the next time that we find ourselves complaining about being censored on Twitter while not being aware of the far greater persecution of Christians all around the rest of the world, what are you going to say?
Zion, what does he mean? Go boy.